Previously. Can I say that again? Previously on The Ford Show.
The Olympics are around the corner. And in this book, again, The Gender Trap, it's thegendertrap.com. Hopefully I've rattled that off to you people enough. You know where to find it, thegendertrap.com. In this book, it is discussed about men who decide that they're going to be women on a Tuesday, and then they start competing in women's sports and whooping all their asses in all their sports. And you got to imagine the women from centuries ago, from decades ago, who burned their bras so that women could have rights and women can vote and women could play sports, are now being dominated by men who want to pretend to be women to play sports. The Olympics are right around the corner. Should women be embarrassed, Palace, like real women, like women that were born women, who stayed women? Should they be embarrassed that men are allowed to dominate women's sports, or what?
Women shouldn't be embarrassed. They should be angry, is what that is. Title IX, specifically Title IX, I think it's like less than 50 words. And the current administration wanted to revise Title IX. And now it's 1,500 pages defining what a woman is. Well, not really defining what a woman is, but kind of finagling the language. 1,500 pages compared to 50 words, like less than 50 words from Title IX. So women should be angry. And what I see here now is this resurgence of women being vocal. And women shouldn't be embarrassed to speak up about these things. But we also need the men that also agree with us to also fight for those rights too as well, because the future is binary. It's not a third, whatever we want to calling that. It's binary. But yeah, women shouldn't be embarrassed. They should be angry.
When you're putting your mind to it, you know exactly what to do indoors. How was that for you?
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, it was such a strong race. We were all running so fast, multiple running in the 50s, so I knew I had to go out fast. I had Lieke in front of me, so I wanted to be in front, and I could hear how brave she was behind me, so I was like, okay, this is good, now we keep going, and this crowd is so amazing.
It is August 8th, 2024. This is The Ford Show. We are all the way live right now in living color, baby, if you will. YouTube, X, Rumble, we're live. We're everywhere. If you're listening on the podcast, thank you for doing so. And if you want to watch the show live, you could do so on those websites that I just mentioned. This is The Ford Show. We are coming to you from the MurderMyDebt.com studio. Head to MurderMyDebt.com and find out how you could get out of the hamster wheel of interest. That's right, MurderMyDebt.com. Wow, what a show. So I almost am like a prophet, because we did that interview that you just listened to in that previously back on July 25, 24 hours before the opening ceremony, which got a little risque, if you know what I mean. And I asked the Gays Against Groomers about women being angry that men get to compete in their sport and dominate. And now we've had this controversy when two chicks who look really a lot like dudes are beating up women in the boxing competition at the Olympics. It's been all the rage, Madness, all the rage.
That it is. And, I was wondering where the timing was with that. I knew it was close when we were talking to those people from Gays Against Groomers, and with the Olympic, the Last Supper one you're talking about, right, where they had about 12
the opening ceremony.
12 weird, dressed up transsexuals, all confused the way they are. I didn't know where that lined up, because I was like, man, we didn't discuss that on the show, but man, it felt like it was right around the same time. And now you just confirmed that was 24 hours later. Boy, that would have been something if that happened while we were on with them. That would have been really cool. But boy, very disturbing and very strange, in my opinion. I don't understand all this. I don't know. I lean towards maybe this is just some big distraction. I don't see how it's so important in the grand scheme of life. And that's what worries me the most. It's why. Why are they pushing this? What is the reason? That's where I go with it.
There is no Joey Vegas tonight. He had a prior engagement. So I went and I dug up one of my favorite all-time people. If it was up to him, he would probably be living in Tampa, working on the Bubba the Love Sponge show. I don't know if we're allowed to say that here or not.
Sure, you can say that.
Gary Cantrell is here. Finally, I have been able to get you to co-host this show. Thank you for being here, Mr. Cantrell.
Well, it's a pleasure texting with you every other third week. It's really it's a good time.
So Gary Cantrell is here. If you don't know who he is, where can they find you, Gary? I know we can't see you because you're in a bunker somewhere, but
I'm hiding.
Where can they find you?
Gary Cantrell, at Gary Cantrell, literally everywhere except for TikTok. Some other dude has that, but
bastard.
Everything else, it's just Gary Cantrell. I put my name on it.
All right, we got a lot to get to. There was a reason why we weren't here last week. We weren't live. I did replay the previous week's show live. Thanks to those that came by and watched and or listened. But I was on a cruise, and like most people who take cruises, I got off the ship with COVID. Thank you very much. And the whole house, this is going to turn into kind of like a COVID compound here. Everyone's sick. I'm on the other side of it because I happened to get sick during the trip itself. So I'm on the other side of it for the most part, but the rest of the house still under the COVID mandate.
Didn't you get shots for that?
Well, good question, Madness. I did get the vaccine back in the beginning so that I could still travel and do all of that. And I did get one booster. I have not gotten 15, but I did get one booster.
I don't know, because I get confused by all this stuff with the hysteria of it all. I've never put any of that in my body and never will. And I don't get this COVID thing.
I only did it the one time. And that was it. But I got some bullet points from this cruise, and I think they'll be good because I think you guys will also be able to join in on the conversation. Ragin' Rob is here with his Music Minute. I also have ADD News. The America's safest city is not safe anymore, and I'll tell you why. Plus, a woman got naked and still got frauded out a bunch of money. We'll talk about that as well. But the Olympics, is it a man? Is it a woman? I don't know, Gary Cantrell. You tell me.
I wish I had saw more of this stuff because I've just honestly heard about it so much on the Bubba show that I had to tune it out at my house because it's just it's all over the place, dude. This whole Olympics thing, man, woman, all this controversy, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, you would have never thought, Madness, they didn't have this problem in 84.
No,
you understand what I'm saying?
This is new and this is bizarre, and I don't understand.
It fits though. Does it not fit? It totally fits 2024. Think about it.
Unfortunately, yes. I mean, with this bizarre...
Like a glove. It fits like a glove, OJ. Like a glove. Of course, we would have a transgender controversy at the Olympics. Of course.
You know what?
Why wouldn't we? It's 2024.
You know what I'm sick of? You have it's the Olympics, right? You have these lifetime conditioned athletes across all kinds of different sports. Like this is their dream. This is their time to shine. And the main thing, the takeaway, the distraction is this transsexual. I'm sorry, this thing is taking over way too much. It's already been we're 10 minutes into the show almost, and that's all we've talked about. It's just constant trans. This is not. It's the reason the fact this is so blown up in our faces is fucking weird to me. And Gary, I don't know what you think about all that. What do you think about why this is so prevalent right now? Why?
It's really just a sign of the times, right? I mean, we've got so much divide, so many people at odds about a lot of things. And so this is yet another thing to throw into the mix to get people riled up, get people upset. And it's just it's becoming more and more like it's rising to the top. I think it's always been there to a certain extent, but now it's really bubbling like a turd to the top of the toilet, this whole thing.
All right, so let's talk about then some good things with the Olympics, right? Let's talk about the medal count, baby, because we're in a neck and neck race. We being America, USA, are neck and neck with those commies over in China. We have 30 gold
China.
medals. China. We have 30 gold medals. They have 29. So we're neck and neck here going into the final few days. I know I saw some math equation where the Americans are favorites. If the Americans win the events are supposed to win for the gold medals moving on through the rest of the week, the Americans will win. We will keep our streak alive of winning more gold medals than China. We have 103 total medals, but we should have more medals. I think no one has more athletes than the Americans do. And we have 103. And those damn red commies, they have 73 there in China. And the rest of the race, it's not even close. Australia's got 18. They're in third, 18 golds. They're nowhere close. It is a two-horse race, as it usually is in the Olympics. The Americans against the Chinese. I missed the whole first week because I was busy getting COVID in international waters. So I missed a lot of like the big top premier events. But I will tell you the truth. My wife and I have watched the prime time in Paris here on the West Coast. Every night I have been watching. I've watched the track and field stuff. I've watched the swim stuff. Madness. I have been in tune with the Olympics because the Olympics remind me of my childhood, of yesteryear. I remember Atlanta in 96 and Barcelona in 92. And so I don't mind the Olympics. I like the Olympics. I mean, I don't really like bearded women dancing at the Olympics, but I like the Olympics, Madness. Have you been watching any at all of these games and America's quest for world domination?
No, I have not, and I'm not boycotting it or anything. I just honestly.
Are you sure, tinfoil hat man?
I'm not boycotting it because of the whole transsexual Last Supper deal. I don't care about that much. I'm not that type of person. I honestly just don't have interest in sports the way I used to, and that includes basketball, football, baseball, everything else. What I have been doing, like you said, reliving your childhood, is I'll just go back and throw on some old school WCW Nitros from the mid '90s, and I'm headed to the Mall of America this weekend, and I watched the first Nitro instead of the Olympics the other day, and it was as weird as I recall. So, no, I have not been watching.
All right, well. Cantrell, Olympics? No? Yes?
No,
maybe?
no.
I'm on an
clips,
island here. I'm all by myself.
Just
here.
clips they talk about on the show that I end up cutting up, and stuff. But it's I've been staying out of it. Yeah, that whole opening thing, like the whole whatever the blue guy or whatever. I don't know, man. I don't know what they were doing there.
ECW, the Blue World Order.
Yeah, Blue Meanie's a really nice guy. I don't know about this French dude, but yeah.
So, well, the American basketball team won today, so they're going to the gold game on Saturday. Even though they were down by 17, they came back and they beat the Serbia.
That's a work.
Nikola Jokic. Work. It might be a work. You never know.
They let them drop today to keep it interesting. That USA basketball team will dominate everybody every year so badly that they'll probably throw the whole sport off the Olympics. And they just had to make some competition happen here to make everybody feel good about it.
Well, they're going to the gold game on Saturday, so
remember
they're playing the home. There you go. There's your tinfoil hat, man.
Gary, you could see me, right?
Oh yeah, I can see you.
Okay, this is my tinfoil hat. I bust this out on the show very often here, so.
Oh, I forgot to do this.
Call Ford now.
855-499-FORD.
You can.
Hello, can you hear me?
You can let us know. I did test it before we went live. It was working. So you can let us know what you think of the Olympics. Have you been watching? I know I'm not alone here. Okay. They're doing 11
right now.
They're doing 11 million, 12 million, 15 million viewers a night, which is not a lot, seeing as when we were kids, they would do like 45 million, but TV's changed.
Oh,
Yeah, you got a lot more options now.
Yeah. So
and attention spans are not the same.
Yeah. And you know what else has changed? And this is a perfect segue right into my first talking point on my vacation.
Genders.
Can I just tell you what happened to the flight attendant? What happened to stewardesses? What happened? Let me take you on a journey. Okay,
Where are you going with this?
I'm going to take you on a journey. My grandfather met his second wife, who turns out to be my step-grandmother, who just died not that long ago. He met her on a flight. She was a stewardess, a flight attendant. She was runner-up for Miss South Carolina back in her glory years. Okay? Not to sound like a sicko, but step-grandma was a bit of a smoke show back in her day. Okay? I get on a flight to Miami. They have hired the twinkiest of the twinks now. The hot stewardess is gone. She is gone. She does not exist anymore. The attractive flight attendant, they are hiring, and this isn't an anti-gay rant. Okay, 2 weeks ago, we had the Gays Against Groomers on the show. I love gay people, just not in that way. But madness, they are hiring the gayest motherfuckers they can find.
Yeah, and you know what?
And you know what? Hold on. And here's the deal. It wouldn't be a problem. I'm not calling it a problem. It wouldn't even be a talking point if they weren't so over the top with the hiring. It's like they put out a mandate where they're like, she's either old or he's gay. And that's all we're hiring.
Now listen, I'm going to say this in the most heterosexual way possible. I think it's charming, those flamboyantly gay flight attendants. They're always, as long as they don't have an attitude at me.
Well, they had to work at that. You know that, right?
What, being flamboyant?
Yeah.
Well, sure. They want to be a little over the top.
I mean, that's a little over. I mean, they got to work at that. That's not something they're just born with.
Now, don't get me wrong. Where you're going with it a little bit is this, you're going to the DEI side of things here, right? Like,
well, that must be what it is, right? But they used to hire hot chicks. Now,
what airline did you fly? What airline did you fly?
The one out there was American.
Okay,
I do believe.
So let me just tell you something to chap my ass.
It was either American or JetBlue.
All right, so I'm a United Club member. I do have the United card. I do the Explorer and all that. It's a great airline. I have no problems with it. But they did make a promise back right after the George Floyd thing. They came on and they put out a whole thing saying that their initiative by 2025 is to increase their black pilots by 20% or some shit. And I'm just like, what the fuck kind of a promise is this? Like,
that's a weird promise.
I'm like, just like, you're getting that. You can't even fulfill that. Like, first of all, to be a pilot, my brother-in-law is one, and I may have told this on the show before, but my brother-in-law is a pilot. It's a very fucked up schedule. There's only so many people that want to do that where they're away from their family 3-4 days at a time and then back 3-4 days. That's the way the lifestyle is. It's not for everybody. Also, people are afraid to fly. So what you're going to tell me is that you are going to promise everybody that you are going to find by 2025, you're going to hit that quota of black pilots. And what if they don't want to be pilots? Are you going to send a United rep to the grocery store and have them tap black people on the chest or on the back and say, "Excuse me, sir, you have to come with me. We made a promise in 2020 during the COVID George Floyd era that says we need X amount of black pilots or we're going to look stupid. Now get over here. You're a fucking pilot now." Like, fuck that.
So if they didn't hire so many to make it seem like they're doing this on purpose, the flight out there, the whole crew, they were all gay men.
I don't know
Cantrell,
what you're saying. I see a lot of older women. I see older women.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. It's either older women or twinks, and it's the honestly, and again, this isn't supposed to be a knock, but they hire the gayest of the gays.
There's probably too much butt pinching going on, because when you walk up and down that aisle, you're right at those, and all those businessmen are flying around, and then there's, how perverse those guys are. They're just probably grabbing so much ass. After a while, you got to put some like unflattering butt through that fucking thing with pushing the carts around and shit that nobody wants to touch.
My uncle is gay, but he is not one of these twinks, I guess is what they're called, right?
So you're talking like this ultra flamboyant.
Every one of them. Every one of them. Now, my wife, apparently her cousin used to be a stewardess, flight attendant. Maybe she still is. They had a weight requirement. They couldn't be over a certain weight. They had a look. You had to look a certain part. And they've killed that. It's dead.
They would have to change the job title to models who serve, because that's the only way you can hire somebody based on their appearance.
Cantrell, they've killed the sexy flight attendant, and I want to know why.
It has changed a lot from the last like 20 years.
I'm not making this up.
It's been a pretty big downgrade.
The next time you fly,
Yeah.
I can almost guarantee you somebody on that crew bats for the same team.
Oh boy.
I guarantee it.
Well, I have no issue with any of them as long as they're just not trying to like mess around with me. If they just play it straight down the middle, hey, what's up, man? Whatever, we're good. But they want to say something
and
else.
they don't see here, and that's the thing. Like, they don't do anything to me.
Yeah,
it's just an observation that I noticed. I was like, I'm watching him walk down the aisle, and I'm like, I don't know, my grandfather picked up his second wife on planes back in the day. He used to be able to smoke.
Ugh.
I can't miss that.
Madness. You used to be able to smoke and pick up a smoke show.
I used to
now
bring
you
my-
can't do it. Now you can't do either one of them.
I used to bring my Pall Malls and hit on all the
There you
bitches.
Maybe up a cowboy killer.
Yeah, pour me a glass of gin. Come here, bend over and show me.
All right, so listen, I got some other bullet points from this MSC Seascape Cruise. Madness, can you write down this time, because this is going to be like my little promo air check for MSC Seascape Cruises. I was on the MSC Seascape. The ship is only about a year old, so the ship was great. Listen, let me tell you something. If you're going to get on an MSC Seascape Cruise, let me give you 2 pointers. One, you better bring a loofah or a wash rag. If not, you're going to be showering by hand all week. They don't provide those. And secondly, be careful. The elevators suck. I've had better elevators in Manhattan in buildings built in the early 1900s that I've been on than these elevators.
You take the stairs. I don't take elevators.
I had to take the stairs one time, mainly because the whole entire ship seemed to be getting on an elevator, and I didn't want to get in their COVID coffin, so I took the stairs.
I went,
But
I'll tell you something real quick, not to interject, but to interject. In Europe, when I travel to Europe, I will tell you, and you can call me a giant pussy if you'd like, but
pussy.
Thank you. I will not go on their elevators. I did it one time initially when I first got to Venice, and I said, I am never going in that thing again. I would lug everything up 3, 4, 5, 6 flights of stairs if I had to. I don't care, and that's just the way I did it.
So it's a great cruise. I would do it again on the MSC Seascape. It comes recommended. I'm just telling you, bring a loofah or a wash rag and avoid the elevators. And that's the end of my promo air check for MSC Cruises. But I would do it again. Now,
Just bring a loofah is the only thing, and
oh yeah, everything else was perfect.
you use
honestly.
a loofah? You use a loofah?
I do use a loofah. I use a bar of soap and a loofah. Yeah.
Gary, do you use
Is that
a
gay?
loofah? Is you use?
Nah, I don't use a loofah, dude. Just
I
a
don't-
regular
Is that
washer.
gay?
Yeah, I'm sitting here.
Is that
he's-
gay?
He's sitting here complaining about.
Am I gay?
He's sitting here complaining about the homosexuality in the aisles of the airplane, and then he then he switches into transitions about telling everyone to bring a loofah. Can you imagine? He'd be that guy on Yelp where you're like, oh my god, this fucking guy. He's bitching about no loofahs. Like,
You use the word transition too?
Well, I don't know about this. Let me just so I can get this clear. Is using a bidet, is that also gay?
No.
oh no, that's
Because
cleanliness.
I do use one of those.
Oh,
and
that's
No,
the
no, no,
greatest.
That's hygienic.
yeah,
That's the greatest creation ever.
it really is.
It
So
really
wait a
is
minute,
incredible
wait a minute, whoa,
enough.
whoa,
I figured
wait,
while
wait,
we were
wait.
in the bathroom, I figure I wanted to get get this all out and see where
Wait,
we're at.
wait. So what's wrong with the loofah?
I mean, it's just a little effeminate.
Yeah.
Is it?
You go
Look
to the
at it.
store, you buy. If you
What
wanna
do
clean-
you use?
I use a
wash-
bar. I use a bar of Irish Spring soap.
But how do you wash your ass crack? You slide
the
the
bar.
bar up. You slide the
yeah.
bar like it's a credit card.
Oh well, like a very. Thick,
Should I throw out my loofah tonight?
Yes.
Yes, I don't think you should be using that. I think that's really stupid.
Think about all the mildew that's in there.
Yeah, everything
that's
just
cool.
sits in there and rots. At least I got a nice
Yeah.
clean bar of soap. It goes everywhere. I have.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I think you need to. And there's a reason why this cruise doesn't provide loofahs, because I don't think any cruises.
Well, no,
provide
not a
loofahs.
loofah. That's why I say bring your own loofah or a wash rag, because they don't provide wash rags like a normal like hotel.
Well,
I'll tell you, it was only the second time I've ever been on a cruise, and I had to sometimes pinch myself and go, dude, you're on a boat. Like I'm at, we got massages. We went to the theater and saw like a play and stuff. And it was like, you're on a boat. Yeah. It's a whole entire city, a town.
I still just don't. I don't know physics very well.
It's on a boat.
To me, I saw the size of the boat that you were on.
It was huge.
It did look like a floating hotel for sure.
Yes.
And I'm just like blown away the fact that there's no reason that thing should be on water.
No
how
reason.
The hell is something? It's like 9 billion tons and it's just floating. Like
no reason. I got some other talking points, but first I want to do the. Let's do the headlines here. This is your headlines in 60 seconds. Stand by.
This is BBC News, the headlines. Muhammad Yunus lands in Bangladesh to lead a caretaker government. The Nobel laureate says his first job is to restore law and order following weeks of turmoil. Police search for the separatist former Catalan leader Carles Puigdemont hours after he returned from exile. President Biden says he's not confident there will be a peaceful transition of power if Donald Trump loses November's election. Austrian authorities say a teenager they've arrested has confessed to planning a suicide attack on a Taylor Swift concert in Vienna.
You're listening to The Ford Show.
All right. You could give us a call if you would like. We would really appreciate it. 855-499-FORD. You can let us know about the Olympics. I think the phone lines are working. If it takes me a minute, my apologies. All right. So a couple other bullet points here from my cruise. I'm going to admit here my level of stupidity quite high with this next thing. So they do a Cantrell. Have you ever been on a cruise before?
I have actually never been on a cruise.
Okay, perfect. So you're going to be able to learn from my mistake.
Hit me.
So they do bingo. Right? They run bingo things and you buy bingo cards. And my wife was like, do you want to play bingo? And I'm like, fuck yeah, man. I love bingo. I used to play it as a kid. Love it. I used to play it with my grandmother. So yeah, let's go play some bingo. Let's go win some money. So we sit down, here's the deal. Full card in the first 40 whatever numbers, you win $25,000. I'm like, oh shit, 25 G's. Let's go. If you do it in X amount of numbers, you'll win 10 grand, full card Jones. I'm like, cool. Let's play. Regular bingo, you win $100. I'm like, all right, let's do this. This is fun. This is a nice way to kill an hour. We're on this ship. I'm not sick yet, so I figured, what the fuck? Let's do it. So we're almost done with the game. And my wife goes, yeah, man, I knew this wasn't I knew no one was going to win the big cards. And I'm like, why? And she's like, oh, because look. And she's like, I got 70, do-do-do-do-do. You got 70, do-do-do-do. She's like, I could just tell it just wasn't going to happen. Plus, it's electronic bingo. And I was like, oh, my God. I am such a dumb mark. I didn't even realize. It didn't even dawn on me, madness. The bingo is computerized. There's no balls in a fucking twirling thing. They're not reaching their hand in and saying B3.
Yeah, it really
it's all fixed. It's fixed.
It's all bullshit. You might as well just go
I was like,
fucking Keno.
I felt like such an idiot. I'm over here going, we could win $25,000. Full card. It didn't even dawn on me, Cantrell. It's fixed. It's not real. It's like wrestling. Oh, my.
The electronic games, yeah, I mean, it's all up to chance, and it's not a good chance for you.
No.
It's become a slot machine. It's programmed to pay out money.
I had no clue. Right. I had no clue. No one will ever win $25,000.
No, somebody will one time, and then it won't happen again for 25 years.
Oh, that's true. They have to let somebody win at some point.
Because they got to give you a shot to see, oh, it did happen. Okay.
Yeah.
Because even if you give someone a sliver of a chance.
I felt like such an idiot. I feel like such a dumb idiot standing there thinking I was going to do full card, win 25 grand.
Well, you were kind of stupid if you think that's the case, even if they were fucking rolling the balls in the little thing still.
Well, but
your odds of that are still dog shit.
True, because they limit the number of balls that can be called for you in order for you to win. But with the whirling ball thing, you have a chance. you really didn't have a chance.
You don't have a system working against you there. You just
Yeah.
have dumb luck.
Exactly. And then they go, come back later this week for bingo night number 2. And I was like, fuck that.
How much
You
do
got
have
me
to
one
pay?
time.
How much do you have to pay for a card?
Well, luckily, my wife had $50 worth of chip credit and it didn't cost us $1.
Yeah, well, good.
But it would have been $25.
per
We would
card?
have split it.
That's a lot.
No, I had a couple of cards in front of me. I don't know.
I remember back in the early 90s when you go to bingo and like $25 would be your whole night, man. Like it would cover like everything. That would actually be going like large. Like, you know, if you went $15, maybe that's like half a night.
So
Yeah.
the first stop on our cruise was Jamaica. Now, I've never been to Jamaica before, but I'm smart enough to know that if you leave the area, when you get off the ship and you leave the area, you're amongst the civilians.
No.
let's
Yeah,
just-
that's it's a little dangerous out that way.
Let's just put it like that, okay?
You
So-
guys didn't stop off at hedonism?
Nope. So my wife goes, I want to venture outside the gate. And I'm like, I really don't want to do that, but that's fine. Let's go. And I'm telling you, security guards are manning the gate. Cops, trained professionals are manning the gate so that civilians can't get in. So that should tell you right there what's on the other side. So we walk out of the little gate area. The moment we crossed the 8-foot street, because the streets are real narrow. Let me tell you something. We weren't in Kansas anymore, Toto.
Third
Okay?
world.
So my wife's like, well, let's walk a little. And I'm like, the further we get away from that giant thing on the water, the more likely we are getting shanked, robbed, whatever the case may be. So we walk. Let's walk. Hey, you know what? They serve Pepsi. I haven't had a Pepsi in forever. Maybe I'll buy a Jamaican Pepsi and I could say I had a Jamaican Pepsi. Okay, cool. Then a local fella approaches me, of all people, stops me and says, hey, man, would you like to buy some Coke? And I'm like, if they weren't here, pointing to my wife and her daughter, absolutely.
Wait a minute. I thought you were a Pepsi guy.
Yeah, this Coke would go.
Oh.
I'll take some of that and a Pepsi. And he goes, hey, man, you want some Coke? And I go, wow, the wife and the kid, or else I would. He's like, my name's Ron. What's your name? My name's Ford, bro. And then he walks alongside of us as we walk to a dead-end street. And I look at the wife and I go, would you like to turn around now? She goes, yeah, let's turn around. And Ron turns right around with us because Ronnie's going for a ride. And he goes, hey, man, do you have any money? I'm like, I'll give you money for cocaine. And then him and I did cocaine right in the middle of the street while my wife cried. No, I'm just kidding. That last part was a joke.
No,
I said, no, Ron.
I knew it was a lie.
Ron, I got no money, bro. And then eventually Ron just dispersed. And to say that we hauled ass back to the security gates where we are protected would be an understatement.
This sounds like a night I had in Atlantic City one time.
It was broad daylight, too, I'm telling you.
Oh, jeez. No, mine was at night.
But it's just one of those things. It's like once you leave the comfort of the cage is there to protect you. The cops are there to protect you. It's like third world country once you got out of that gate area. Hit like the slums of the slums. And I'm like, we got to go back to where it's protected because we don't have weapons. We're coming off the cruise ship. The locals know we don't have weapons. They know we're not equipped. We just got off the ship. We're sitting ducks. We're like fish in a barrel. We got to get back on the boat. I could get away from Ron and his cocaine. But I'll tell you this, if the wife and the kid were not there, I probably would have taken Ron up on his offer. Because I don't think I have to worry, Gary Cantrell, about cocaine being laced with fentanyl in Jamaica.
Probably not. It's probably pure there.
I was as pure as it could, much purer than here.
Yeah, we put all that extra stuff in there, I think, and it's just not needed.
I got 2 more bullet points from the cruise, and then we'll move on. I'm going to skip the one bullet point to give you the, we get off at Cozumel. Now I'm in full-blown COVID sickness at this point. Cozumel, Mexico. And madness. You get off the boat. There's shopping all around there in Cozumel. And the pharmacia, the La Pharmacia. Come get your drugs that you can't get in America at Walgreens here at the pharmacia. But what I see and what blows my mind in a giant sign like it was made for Times Square. Get your steroids here. HGH, DECA, human growth. I'm just like, holy shit. Anabolic steroids. The guys on the picture are jacked. They make madness look like me. And I'm just like, wow. It's such a culture shock to see openly. Buy Adderall. I bought Xanax. You could buy Xanax, Adderall, Klonopins, and human growth hormones. You could get some Decadick madness. It was such a culture shock because I ain't never seen that before. And just openly, just come on in and buy a cycle.
Yeah, we've gotten so, I see where you're going with there, because we've gotten so like PC and like worried about everything and everything's so regulated and there's policy everywhere that it's just kind of like freeing almost to just see it out there like boom, steroids, boom, HGH.
I was going to buy some and I don't even use it.
Yeah, I'm glad I wasn't there because I probably would have been like, you know what, this seems fine.
I mean, and the thing is that it's all clean. It's not, you're not buying it from you're buying it from like a legitimate business. This is not like I'm not buying steroids from a guy at the gym. You know what I'm saying? Like where the guys get the steroids now.
Those guys are usually legit.
I mean, this is like, I was blown away. I almost bought Adderall. You could have bought Ambien, Xanax, you name it. It was there. It was like a pill popper's dream in Cozumel, Mexico. And apparently you could get this in any pharmacy, Cantrell. So if you want me to make a drug run for you to Tijuana, I can.
That's very kind of you.
You're welcome.
I'm trying to get off to all that stuff and
you want some Ambien? You want some
No.
Ambien? Your boy Bubba used to do that all the time. I remember.
Yeah, it's true. He used to talk about that.
All right, I got one last talking point, and then we'll get to some of the other stuff that's going on in the world that doesn't involve transgender people beating chicks up at the Olympics. And this is the best one. I saved the best for last. I'm sitting at the buffet. It's early on in the trip. It's my wife and I were sitting there. There was a couple next to us, an older couple. I'm going to leave the race out of it. Doesn't matter. Don't be a racist.
Well, the fact you had to bring it up means it mattered. And now we need to know what color their skin is and what they were wearing.
So the wife and I were sitting there eating some pizza. By the way, MSC Seascape Cruise pizza was phenomenal, and I'm a pizza snob. And
Pizza snob.
what?
You like that New York shit.
Yeah, I also like Chicago deep dish stuff. I do. I just like New York better because it's thinner. Anyway, don't get me off track. So
Chicago's better. Sorry.
Thank you.
the wife,
You're right. Absolutely.
the wife gets up and leaves, and it's just me sitting at the table. And this older gentleman, he's older than me, turns around, says something I can't really hear him. Couldn't understand what he was saying really at first. I kind of just nodded. And then he looks at me and he goes, turns back around. A couple moments later, he turns back, looks at me because his table is, I'm kind of like behind him, even though his table's right next to ours. And he goes, do you like pineapple? And I was so thrown off with the question that I said a little, which is a lie because I eat it every fucking day. But I was so perplexed by why this complete stranger just turned around and asked me if I liked pineapple. There wasn't even pineapple around. So then, after I innocently said a little, I innocently am like, sir, actually, I do like it, and I eat it with tahini. And he's like, oh, I'll have to try that. And that was the last we talked.
So,
hold on. No, hold on. So then I find out a couple of days later from my wife, Madness, which I'm sure you're.
I know.
You're about to tell me.
Can I go in? Come on. Let me say it.
Go ahead.
Let me see if I'm right. Because if you say it and I'm wrong, that's fine.
All right.
But Gary, as you may know, a pineapple upside down. Am I in the right direction here?
Yes.
Is the swingers.
It's kayfabe it's carny for swinger.
I've heard about that. Yeah.
Swingers.
Yes.
So I believe that this man was asking you
if you could plow my wife,
and if you knew the lingo,
yeah,
you'd be down with it.
Yes.
If you did, and then he assumed that's why he stopped talking to you because you didn't even know what he was talking. You're like,
correct.
You thought
I answered the question legitimately.
You thought it was. You thought it was.
And I'm like,
fruit.
yes, sprinkle some tahini on it. And he's like, no, I'm talking about pussy, you idiot. Still, sprinkle some tahini on it. No, I had no idea because I'm not in the culture. I'm not in the lifestyle. I don't go on cruises to have sex with other people's wives. And I found out days later from my wife. She goes, you know what? I just dawned on me. I think that guy was asking you that because that's some kind of like swinger thing. Yeah. And I Googled it. And yeah, it's an upside down pineapple thing. But he didn't want to get too forward. So he just asked me, do you like pineapple? And I'm like, yeah, man, with tahini. It's great.
Were you sitting with was this just a couple? And then were you sitting with the kid too?
No, the kid was not there. That's why I think they got, that's why I think they asked.
I was going to say, that'd be pretty ballsy to see you with the kid. And then well, where the hell, you guys want to do this? Where the hell is this?
That's exactly, yeah.
Unless you're going separate rooms on it.
She was off.
Story.
Yeah, she was off. She had
threw the kid overboard.
She met someone. She met a friend, some girl from Canada. So she spent a lot of time hanging out with her. So I think that's what she was doing at that time. The wife had gotten up and walked away. And then this guy, he dipped his toes in the water. Now, to be honest with you, I would not have sex with his wife. And my wife would probably, most likely, not have sex with him. So, and then we did see him again a couple of times later down the road. But I had been stricken with COVID at that point, and I really wasn't wanting to play the game. But I did want to go back up to him and be like, just so you know, sir, I did a little Google, and you're a little dirty feller. You're a little dirty feller there, buddy.
And then turns out he was just really asking about pineapple, and he's just like, what are you talking about?
Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt our program to bring you a special bulletin.
Listen up. It's time for Ragin' Rob's Music Minute.
You do want to be a part of that, don't you?
Yeah.
Happy Thursday, music fans. This is Ragin' Rob's Music Minute. We're going to start out with, hopefully, you did not try to go see Lauryn Hill and the Fugees this year. Sadly, she has canceled the tour 3 days before the first show is supposed to kick off in Tampa, Florida. No explanation has been given. This is the third year in a row that this tour has either been canceled or postponed. Maybe don't support her at all because she clearly doesn't care about the fans. All refunds will be made through your point of purchase. So if you bought tickets, go to wherever you bought your tickets, and you will be refunded. Also, sad news and scary news this week. Yesterday, a terrorist plot was foiled by Austrian law enforcement. Apparently, a couple of people that were radicalized by Islam over online. One was apparently a 19-year-old. They're planning a terrorist attack at the Taylor Swift shows this weekend in Austria. All shows have been canceled. Very sad news. There's videos of the Austrian fans out there right now singing their hearts out to Taylor Swift songs. T-Swift Army is just crazy. Very tragic and unfortunate that there's so many sick, disgusting human beings in this world. But hopefully she can reschedule that show. Also, Aerosmith is calling it quits. After 54 years of touring, just legends of the music industry. Steven Tyler, the lead singer, has been dealing with vocal cord injuries lately, and the band has just said that they can't make it. They can't keep doing it. So all shows have been canceled for that tour. Unfortunate, and Aerosmith is always a band that was on my bucket list. I have not seen them, which is tragic in its own right. But best wishes to them, and this has been your Music Minute. Fucking rage.
Call Ford now. 855-499-FORD.
Hello? Can you hear me?
We now return to the Ford Show.
Thank you, Rage and Rob, for that.
Fucking rage.
Fucking rage. So, the number one safest city in America, according to 2023, Ridgefield, Connecticut. No more. A 31-year-old man has been charged with murder in the gruesome killing of his father that has shocked one of the oldest and otherwise safest towns in America. Stephen James Eurico of Ridgefield, Connecticut, was arrested and charged with murder after police responded to a domestic violence incident and found his father dead inside the residence. The suspect was held over the weekend with a $1.5 million bond and did not enter a plea in the court appearance this past Monday. Now, the Ridgefield Police Department identified the victim as the 83-year-old, as the suspect's 83-year-old father, Marco Joel Eurico. The victim was discovered with his face, abdomen, and groin mutilated, and his internal organs were found outside of his body. That was probably a sight. Madness. I can hear you typing.
I'm checking something because
you
said Ridgefield. Well, I can't always mute it.
Ridgefield, Connecticut. Yeah.
Oh, it's Ridgefield, Connecticut, not Ridgefield, Ohio. Okay.
No. This is a safe place. It's Connecticut. There's nothing safe in Ohio.
There's nothing safe in Ohio because I was looking at that's what I was looking up, which WWE events were in Ridgefield Coliseum. But no, that is
it's the first Survivor Series, right?
I believe it was the first one. I have to double check. That's actually what I was looking up. But at the same time, that is disgusting. I just never.
Danbury State Attorney David Applegate described the crime as gruesome. How could you get to a mental state where you kill your father to the point to where his organ, he took out his organs. He took out the man's organs.
I mean, the world just seems to get sicker by the minute to me. And I don't know if it's just more shit going on or it's just in our faces more. Oof.
Well, it's definitely in your face more when you listen to the Ford Show because I give you all this sick shit.
Yeah, you do.
I know Madness. You get great feedback of people who love my stories.
Well, see, it's in your face more, and it produces people to want to copycat it pretty much, and that's why a lot of the stuff keeps happening because. Oh, well, this guy over here got, 100,000 views on a video of him like drop kicking an old lady down a flight of stairs. So naturally these sickos, they want to replicate this. It's unbelievable.
I want to show you. There is the guy. This is the guy here for those of you watching this podcast on YouTube or Rumble, I'm showing you the guy. This is Stephen James Eurico.
Looks about how you would expect.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, it looks like if he wasn't killing an 83-year-old man, he doesn't look like he would be a formidable opponent. Madness.
He looks like a guy that would give me shitty recommendations at the Blockbuster.
Yes. I said it looks like the guy I'd go shoot the shit with about video games at the GameStop for a little while in the mall. Hey, did you play the new Assassin's Creed, man? Like that. That's what
he's played every damn one of them.
Damn right, and he knows every. He's very snobby about it too.
Yeah, he does not look like somebody who he looks like somebody who would have to kill an 83-year-old because anybody outside of that would put up a fight that he would probably lose. That's what it looks like to me. I don't know. I guess you can't really judge a book by its cover.
True.
But this crazy son of a bitch killed his father. So details of the crime, as stated in the police report, are horrific. They responded to this incident at 1 a.m. on a Saturday. The caller was the guy. He said, you know what? I hurt my father. I hurt him. That's what he stated. He stated he hurt his father. When officers arrived at the house, they discovered Eureka with his hands in the air, wearing a dark blue T-shirt and boxer shorts. They didn't even bother to put pants on. Officers had instructed Eureka to step toward them with his arms extended. When Eureka reached the end of the cement walkway that leads to the front door, officers had the suspect lie on his stomach with his arms stretched out. He was frisked for weapons, and they observed he was sweating profusely, which is what will probably happen after you murder somebody, and he had blood on his hands. Officers then asked Eureka what he had done to his father, to which he replied simply, I murdered him. Pausing and then adding, really, really badly. Sounds like a Donald Trump line. I murdered him. Really, really, really badly.
Really badly.
Really bad.
I thought he was unconscious, and then I, took a few more hacks, just a couple more, 2-3 more.
Badly. Police handcuffed Eureka and asked him where his father was. The suspect indicated his father was in the upstairs bedroom because he's 83 and it's 1 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. Officers then entered the home to investigate. They state that the officers saw drops of blood leading all the way up to the bedroom, rather. They found a bloody fillet knife, a fillet-style knife at the top of the stairs. Mark Eureka was found in his bedroom, lying on the ground, facing the doorway. The victim had reportedly been mutilated, and some of his internal organs, I don't know which ones, were found outside of his body. Paramedics took the bold statement and pronounced him dead at the scene. Eureka was taken into custody and charged with murder. It is the first homicide reported in Ridgefield, Connecticut since 2003.
Wow.
21 years. At least, I guess, Cantrell, at least it's an isolated incident and there's not like a killer on the loose.
I would hope not, because, these street things. I mean, Bill Goldberg was, 173-0 before he finally lost or something like that.
How many wrestling references will Cantrell and Madness get in on tonight's show? The count?
All of them.
The count right now is, 3?
Something like that.
Yeah.
It's such a killing shakes the town up. This is a very safe community. It's the #1 safest city in America by Neighborhood Scout with a total crime rate. I meant to say rate.
Crime rate.
Crime. It's really trouble. It's a total crime rate of 1.9 per 1,000 residents. The chance of being a victim was 1 in 510. Unless you're Mark Rucchio. And you're one of one.
You get your guts mutilated all over the bed sheets by your son. What a way to go.
They're not even going to be able to have an open casket. It's got to be closed. Who's going to want to look at that?
Imagine that shit. My fucking kid's killing me right now. I can't believe this.
That's your last thought. Think about that.
Yeah. Sometimes I think we just live in hell right now. We're just on a beeline, just to shit all the time, right to death.
Maybe Stephen needed to treat himself more. That's right. Americans find themselves needing to treat themselves 3 times a week. The stresses and strains and achievements of modern life leave the typical adult feeling the need to treat themselves up to 3 times a week. We treat ourselves with desserty coffee drinks, manicures, pedicures. I know Madness loves a good manicure.
Always.
And Cantrell, an extra alcoholic beverage or two.
Yeah.
And also online shopping. Cantrell, if you were going to treat yourself, what would be your ideal? You have carte blanche. You could do whatever you want.
Okay.
And if I said to you, Gary Cantrell, You could find him on X and Instagram and everywhere else at Gary Cantrell, except on TikTok. Fuck you, Gary Cantrell.
He just called it TikTok. It's not a
TikTok.
It's a social media platform.
My apologies.
So sorry, you were saying?
What would you choose? What would you do if you could do whatever you want to relieve some stress, some strain on your modern life? What would you do? What if you could do whatever you wanted to do? Carte blanche. Money's not an issue.
I would go shoot some concerts to make some more money and go on tour, man.
So you would just work. So you would work. Okay.
Doing what I like to do, as opposed to like getting up and going to some job that I just can't
that you
stand.
hate. Yeah. I understand that. I agree.
I kind of like never want to go back to that life again. Like I was there for like over 20 years, and it's like I've just been thinking about it more and more, and I'm just like, I don't want to go back to this life. Like I want to like get into something, whether it's photos or reselling or a little bit of all the above. Like I want to do a bunch of like cool shit instead of like going back to work.
Have you ever thought about maybe selling drugs?
No, I have not.
There's a guy named Ron in Jamaica who's got a job for you.
Yeah, there you go.
He's got the product.
Now I know what boat to get on.
See?
Madness, carte blanche. Well, Madness, how do you feel? Do you feel like this is an adequate stat? I mean, it's the truth, so whether you like it or not.
No, actually, I don't. I think that people are treating themselves 3 times a day. That's what I think.
Okay, you think America's become too soft?
Yes, I think
SAWFT.
We become even soft, but just so programmed, and we're overworked, and we're heavily.
But you think we're overworked by the system?
The damn system is right. So I think people are finding ways to just take that misery and find some dopamine hits. And
self-medication.
Self-medication. They get that through sugar mostly.
So what would you do? Let's just pretend like you're stressed. I know you don't have a lot
Pretend.
Let's pretend like you want to treat yourself.
So
let's just pretend.
If you want, this is how I would treat myself. Okay, I would take my edible, then I would go to Walgreens. And
you do that now.
Listen, I'm not done. If I said I'm going to drop everything, all responsibilities, not give a shit about a
you
damn
don't have
thing.
any responsibilities. You don't have to worry about the kids.
This is not
the ex-wife.
I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this anyways, but here's what I would do. I would take my edible. I'm going to get in my car because it takes about an hour for it to get in. I'm going to go to Walgreens, and I'm going to get dark chocolate Kit Kats.
I'm glad you prefaced that.
And I'm going to take those dark chocolate Kit Kats, and I'm going to put them where they belong, which is in the freezer. And then I'm going to order a pizza. I'm going to tell them I want pepperoni, black olives, and onions on it, and I don't want you to cut that pizza, because what I'm going to do is get in a blanket onto the couch. I'm going to put on Survivor Series 1990. I'm going to take the pizza when it gets there, put it on my lap, and I'm going to fold it over. Yes, I could just order a calzone, but I want to do it like this and eat it like a big sandwich. And then once I can get off of that couch, and somewhere in the middle of the event, once I feel like moving, probably have to take a piss, maybe soil something, but who knows? Then I'm going to get up and I'm going to go to the freezer. I'm going to grab my dark chocolate Kit Kats right out of there, just like they're like ebony piano keys. And then I'm going to sit there and watch the rest of my wrestling, and I'm going to go to sleep, and that's going to be it. That's my day.
All right. I mean, it's your stress-free thing. So
I've thought about this before.
Clearly, this is I sprung it on you, but you had an answer loaded in the gun. So
it's very specific.
Yeah, that was not rehearsed. We didn't rehearse nothing. That was real. Like, yeah.
All right. So I got a bone to pick with you, Madness. You know what? I'll pick the bone last. First, I want to tell you this story. Cantrell, I know you don't listen to the show very often here.
Wow.
Because I know you spend 4 hours a day listening to Bubba Love Sponge. So I imagine that you're probably radioed, podcasted out, and then you do your own show with the Seth Kushner, who I love so very much.
Yes, he's a wonderful person.
And so I know you don't listen to the show very often, but we like to do this. I like to do this little thing where I'm going to ask you, I'm going to read the headline. In this case, I'm going to do the whole story. And then I'm going to ask you, where did it happen? And then you need to tell me what state it happened in. Okay?
Okay.
And if you win, you win. And if you don't, we insult you vigorously for 5 minutes straight.
Now, I'm just picking any state, or you're going to give me like 2 or 3 to pick from states?
Once I tell you the story, you should be able to pick the state.
Okay.
All right. So it's a scam that began in spoof call, ended with a woman being swindled out of $6,000 And if that wasn't the worst part of it, she got then tricked into getting naked so they could verify her identity via FaceTime. That's right. These guys over there in India, they're getting worse and worse. So this woman gets a phone call. It's a male caller, spoke with an accent, of course, told the woman that there was a potential fraudulent charge pending on her account. And to safeguard her money, that the bank employee said, the quote-unquote bank employee, said that she would have to move her funds to a different account to avoid her money being stolen. Now, with the scam artist on the phone, the woman went to her local branch, withdrew $6,000. She was then directed to a nearby Chase Bank ATM where she deposited the cash onto a Chase debit card via her iPhone's Apple Pay feature. After having spent 2 hours on the phone with the man, the woman, whose name has been redacted so that we can't make fun of her, returned home and got another call from the fraudster who wanted to FaceTime with her. The man, who did not turn his camera on, then asked the woman to provide them with a full body scan to identify for her identity to be identified due to a failed transaction. The woman told the cops that she then undressed and spun in circles on FaceTime to confirm her identity. When the voice on the other end began to laugh, the woman realized she had just been scammed and humiliated on top of it. While police have subpoenaed various bank records, the likelihood of identifying this perp, probably working from a call center in India, are remote. Prior to the woman being defrauded, the local sheriff warned that area residents had been receiving scam phone calls from the same spoofed numbers of the bank. The bank cops noted advised customer service will never reach out to you via telephone call requesting for you to get naked on FaceTime. Gary Cantrell, what state did this woman live? What state is she from where she went and pulled money out of an ATM and then got naked on FaceTime?
We'll see. I'm torn because there's a lot of tech mentioned there, so that makes me think California. But then I'm like, the woman's kind of stupid, so I want to think like Midwest or something like that, like Iowa or something, you know.
Is Iowa your final answer?
Yeah, because I honestly, I don't know. I mean, I feel like there's dumb people everywhere, so to try to like specifically say it, it's hard.
But the dumbest people... But the dumbest people, Madness, usually reside in one of two states. Your guess, Madness?
Florida.
No, this is an Ohio woman.
I was going to say Ohio.
Yeah, this is an Ohio woman.
Cantrell was close. He was Midwest right.
Yes, he was.
Thank goodness I was close.
I was like, oh my God, the guy's going to get it. Typically, Cantrell, the dumbest people either reside in Ohio or in Florida. Now I'm going to pick my Madness. I got a bone to pick with you.
Good. Let's go.
Now, for those of you who don't know, maybe you are watching, maybe you're not watching, maybe you're just listening to this podcast like a normal person listens to podcasts. But you can follow Madness on Instagram at MFS Wellness. That's M as in Michael, F as in Foxtrot, S as in Sierra, and then the word wellness. You can follow him on Instagram. And this is where I saw this. I took a screenshot of it. I did not upload it into the system here, but Madness added to his story. You can only choose 3. Movies released in 1994. Now, they give you 9 options. So for 1994, they gave Madness Shawshank Redemption, Legends of the Fall, Pulp Fiction, Dumb and Dumber, Forrest Gump, 4 Weddings and a Funeral, The Santa Claus, The Lion King, and The Flintstones. Now, Madness, you get to circle the 3 movies, and you circled Shawshank Redemption, which I'll give you that one. That's a classic. You circled Pulp Fiction. Okay. And then you circled Dumb and Dumber. Now, here's where I have a bone to pick with you.
I already know what you're going to say.
How do you not pick Forrest Gump?
You know, I didn't like...
It is a classic.
It's a great movie.
No, it's a classic.
See, if you ever look, 1994 is hoarded with great movies. I think that's why they did that year in 93. We had a lot of good movies in 93, 94. And let me tell you something.
How do you not fucking pick Forrest Gump?
Because it doesn't have a line like Samsonite. I was way off.
What? It has life is like a box of chocolates. It has a line that's better.
Let me tell you something. It's a great movie. Tom Hanks is a great actor in it, but the fucking character gets annoying, all right? Guy's voice gets fucking annoying throughout this fucking bullshit. And then he comes back. What pissed me off in that movie
No, wait, first of all, you don't have to defame. You don't have to defame Forrest Gump.
He comes all the way back from serving or whatever it is. He comes back, he finds Janet.
Our country.
And now Janet's got HIV, and then he still fucks her. And I'm just like, what are you doing, dude? We didn't know. Like, why did you do that? It bothered me. Like, now you can get it. Here. So fuck that. That's why I picked Dumb and Dumber, because those two oil boys never got picked up.
So I loved the Flintstones, but I love the Flintstones, the cartoon, and I loved the live action movie. I just watched it not too long ago. But Forrest Gump, Cantrell, this is indefensible. I know he just tried to defend it. He did his best Johnny Cochran there, but out of those 9 movies, which 3 would you choose, Cantrell? Let me see if I can put your ass on the fucking hot seat now, too.
Well, Forrest Gump, number 1 with a bullet.
Thank you.
That's for sure. I would actually have Dumb and Dumber in there, believe it or not. But
okay. So Forrest Gump, Dumb and Dumber?
Yeah, and then there was another one you said that it's not coming.
Pulp Fiction,
Shawshank Redemption, Legends of the Fall, 4 Weddings and a Funeral, The Flintstones, The Lion King, and Santa Claus.
Santa Claus was really big. I mean, that thing is still being watched today.
We watch it every year. My wife watches it religiously every year.
But go ahead.
No, I was going to say, Tim Allen and Christmas, man, that is some heartwarming shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say real quick, like, there are 2 movies that I think of when I think of 94 that are, like, so obvious. One of the greatest action movies of all time, Speed. I saw that in the theater that summer. Dennis Hopper, the ultimate heel. Maniacal, crazy, Keanu Reeves, the ultimate baby face, and Sandra Bullock with her small titties. You know, she's really hot too. But then also Little Giants. I mean, man, that was like an incredible kids movie. I mean, for sure.
I mean,
didn't even Rookie of the Year come out that year? Holy shit!
Cantrell, you're only supposed to choose from the 9 that were listed.
No, fuck that, man. It's incomplete.
I actually saw A League of Their Own in
That's
theater.
a great film. That's not on the list.
Or as Bruce Pritchard would say, the theater. Yeah, I mean, look, my point of contention here, Madness, is that you circled Dumb and Dumber and not Forrest Gump.
Yes.
Like the other 2, fine. But to not choose Forrest Gump, I saw that and I was like, screenshot. That's
fine.
And that's for the show.
And I stand by it. Sure.
Of course you do. Of course you do. Yeah, I mean, you got to die on this hill.
This doesn't mean I don't like Forrest Gump. I think it was a very good movie. I've seen it many times, but Dumb and Dumber is just something about it. Like there's like something classic every 10 minutes in that movie. It's really
for
good.
93, they gave you Jurassic Park, The Sandlot, Schindler's List, Mrs. Doubtfire, which, I mean, how could you make out during Schindler's List? Mrs. Doubtfire, Hocus Pocus, Sleepless in Seattle, The Son-in-Law. I haven't even heard of that movie.
Son-in-Law with Pauly Shore.
Yeah,
cool buddies.
The Nightmare Before Christmas and Free Willy. Now, Madness again.
A layup here.
No, because look.
Are you kidding me?
Madness circled Sandlot, Schindler's List, and Mrs. Doubtfire. But you missed The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah,
which is again another movie that gets watched every December.
I don't think that movie's that great. Like
it sucks.
I never loved it. I think it's just a little overrated.
Just the technology that was put into that movie makes that movie just the amount of work.
You can put technology into anything. Doesn't mean it has to be entertaining. You can.
How about
be bored
Jurassic
as fuck.
Park? You didn't even circle. You didn't circle Jurassic Park.
Dinosaurs are fake. They didn't even exist.
You were 10 years old. Why the hell are you circling Schindler's List?
Because
you were 10.
Dude, that's a movie everybody
You
should
circled that as a 41-year-old adult. You didn't circle that as a 10-year-old in 93?
I just saw the Instagram story today. What do you want me to do? Time warp 31
years?
Yes. And answer it as a 10-year-old boy, you fucking
You
pervert?
didn't even see you didn't see Schindler's List in fucking theaters.
Maybe I did. You don't know.
Hocus Pocus, another, kind
Hocus
of
Pocus
classic.
is also a very overrated film. Not bad.
Listen, if I'm
Overrated.
going to circle 3, I'm circling Jurassic Park, The Sandlot, and The Nightmare Before Christmas. Cantrell, your 3? Of those 9 only.
The Sandlot for sure. You said Doubtfire, right?
Mm-hmm.
100% Doubtfire.
Mhm.
And then just give me the other ones real fast.
Hocus Pocus, Sleepless in Seattle, Free Willy, Son-in-Law, A Nightmare Before Christmas.
Son-in-Law.
I mean, that's not better than Jurassic Park.
It's a lot funnier and it's a lot better paced than Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park didn't even get good to like the ones in the 2010s, dude. Come on.
No. I like the one from 93. For me, 93 didn't really get good until T-Rex showed up.
Yeah, I dude, when they rebooted it in like 14 or 15, those films I thought were like way better than the originals.
Can I tell you something? A little something about T-Rex.
Yeah.
My wife likes to make fun of me because I had no idea that there was more than one T-Rex. I always thought there was only one.
Right.
Because there's always just one. You know what I'm saying? There's multiple pterodactyls, there's multiple rhinosauruses, there's multiple everything else, but there's always just one T-Rex.
There was always one Andre the Giant too.
There you go.
You
On
read
that
2
note,
of those.
On that note, Gary Cantrell, thank you for being here. We really appreciate you filling in for Joey Vegas.
Thank you.
Again, tell everybody where they can find you.
At Gary Cantrell and everything except for TikTok, and watch some of the videos I edit for at the Bubba Army. Bubba Love Sponge.
He is a video editor. He works behind the scenes for Bubba the Love Sponge. And who knows? Maybe one day the Ford Show will be over there on the Bubba Army podcast feed. Check those guys out at the Bubba Army. And for Madness and for the long-lost Joey Vegas, who at this point will have missed a month's worth of shows. He will be back next week. I'm Ford. We'll see you guys then. Enjoy those Olympics. Enjoy those Olympics. And you watch those men pummel those poor women in boxing. We'll see you guys next week.
Good night, jabroni marks without a life that don't know if it's a work when you work a work and work yourself into a shoot. Marks.
See ya!